A man's car was still burning when police found his body next to it. That's not the strangest part of the story. The strangest part is what happened to his case 30 years later. This is the story of Juan Leon Laureles and the hidden machinery behind 4 words most people don't think twice about. The case went cold. Brown County sits in the heart of central Texas, ranchland, open highway, and rail lines that cut for miles through country where a stranger stands out fast. In the early hours of May 10, 1996, someone driving past a railroad crossing outside town noticed flames. What they found wasn't a car fire, it was a crime scene. 30-year-old Juan Leon Laureles was lying next to his 1988 Ford Thunderbird. He'd been shot once in the back of the head. His car had been deliberately set on fire beside him. Investigators noticed something immediately. This wasn't panic. Burning a vehicle takes time, takes fuel, takes intent. Someone wanted to destroy evidence, or send a message, or both. By the time deputies secured the scene, whatever the fire hadn't already consumed had to be processed with 1996 forensic technology. No DNA databases to search, no cell phone records, no highway cameras. Investigators canvassed the area, interviewed Laureles' family, and worked every lead the technology of the time could generate. It was, by every account, a serious investigation. It produced no arrest. Not that year, not the next. Eventually, the way it happens with most cases that don't break early, the file went into storage. Not closed, just quiet. Here's what most people get wrong about a case like this. They hear cold case and assume it means abandoned. It doesn't. In Texas, unsolved homicides are tracked by the Department of Public Safety's Unsolved Crimes Investigation Program, a dedicated cold case unit whose entire job is deciding which file gets a second look and when. Roughly every 2 months, that unit selects exactly one case out of hundreds of open files in the system and deliberately re-publicizes it. Timed press releases, coordinated media outreach, and almost always a reward increase. It isn't random, and it isn't triggered by new evidence. It's a strategy. Which case, spotlighted right now, is most likely to reach the one person who's still holding a piece of the truth. On August 10, 2026, Juan Leon Laureles' case came up in that rotation. The reward for information leading to an arrest was raised to $6,000. Investigators didn't announce a new lead, a new suspect, or a forensic breakthrough. They didn't need one. What they needed was attention. That reward money typically comes from a combination of state cold case funds and Crime Stoppers contributions, structured so a tip can be submitted completely anonymously and still qualify for payment if it leads to an arrest. A common myth about cases this old is that they're effectively unsolvable. In practice, physical evidence far older than 30 years has cracked cases before. Forensic genetic genealogy alone has resolved homicides and identified remains going back more than 60 years. But Laureles' case doesn't obviously hinge on a lab result. There's no indication of untested DNA driving this rotation. It hinges on something older than forensic science memory, a name somebody has carried quietly since 1996. That's the part of this story that isn't about forensics at all. Somewhere, there is very likely a person who knows something concrete about that night, not a suspect law enforcement has named, but a witness who never came forward. Investigators are betting that 3 decades is long enough for guilt, fear, or loyalty to finally shift. A reward doesn't solve a case by itself. It just makes staying silent cost something. Laureles' case isn't unique in this respect. Rural, railroad-adjacent crime scenes turn up again and again in Texas cold case files, isolated enough that a crime can go unwitnessed by strangers, and public enough that, eventually, someone nearby usually knew something. It's also worth saying plainly, this case is about a person, not just a file number. Juan Leon Laureles was 30 years old. By every account that's part of the public record, an ordinary day led him to that crossing, the kind of day that, for almost anyone else, would have ended at home. Instead, his name spent 3 decades mostly known only to the people who loved him, and to a handful of investigators who never fully let the file go. That's what a reward increase is actually trying to undo. Not the silence of one person necessarily, but the quieter silence of everyone who's ever half remembered a detail and decided it probably didn't matter. A cold case file doesn't solve itself, and neither does a rotation schedule. Both are just tools, built for the same narrow purpose, keeping a single question in front of the one person who can actually answer it. If you have any information about the 1996 murder of Juan Leon Laureles in Brown County, Texas, contact Texas Crime Stoppers. 30 years is a long time to carry a secret. It only takes one person deciding it isn't worth carrying any longer.